Welcome back to Change Your Life. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the Mercury Dime, also known as the Winged Liberty Head Dime. In this video, you'll discover the top 3 most valuable, expensive, and ultra-rare Mercury dimes from the United States of America, including 1924, no mint mark. 1929, no mint mark. 1940, no mint mark, Philadelphia Mint. These iconic dimes are made of 90% silver and feature the famous fasces design on the reverse, symbolizing strength and unity. Their rich history, classic design, and rare mint details make them some of the most sought-after coins in American numismatics. What's shocking is that many of these coins are found in dirty, worn, and heavily circulated condition. They may look ordinary, but some have sold for thousands of dollars, and in extreme cases, even millions. So before you spend that old dime, stick around, because you might be holding a fortune in your hands. Backhand index pointing right first up. Coin number 1. Welcome to a story that proves the smallest coin can carry the biggest destiny. Today, we step deep into the mysterious and powerful world of the 1924 Mercury Dime, officially known as the Winged Liberty Head Dime, a coin that looks ordinary, feels light in the hand, and yet holds a reputation strong enough to change lives overnight. Many people have spent this coin without a second thought, letting history slip through their fingers, never realizing that what they dismissed as pocket change could have been the key to unimaginable wealth. The Mercury Dime was never meant to be ordinary. When it was first struck, America was standing at a crossroads between tradition and modern identity. The design shows liberty wearing a wing cap, often mistaken for the Roman god Mercury, symbolizing freedom of thought, speed, intelligence, and progress. This was not just a coin, it was a message pressed into silver. On the reverse side, the fasces stands proudly, wrapped with an olive branch, representing unity, strength, and peace. Every detail was intentional, every line meaningful, and the 1924 issue carries that symbolism into a year filled with economic tension and social change. The 1924 Mercury Dime with no mint mark, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, is especially fascinating because it came from the heart of American coin production. Philadelphia coins often appear common at first glance, but this is where many collectors make their biggest mistake. Value is not always about rarity alone, it is about survival, condition, demand, and the story the coin tells through its wear. Most 1924 dimes were used heavily. They passed through countless hands, rode in pockets, cash drawers, and bank bags, slowly losing their sharp details. Because of this, finding one today in exceptional condition is extremely difficult. This coin is made of 90% pure silver, and that alone gives it intrinsic worth. But silver is only the beginning of its power. What truly drives collectors wild is the idea that a coin which survived decades of circulation, wars, recessions, and melting threats still exists today. Many were melted for their silver content during times when metal was worth more than history. Every surviving example escaped destruction, and each one becomes more valuable as time moves forward. Now here is where the story becomes shocking. Most people believe only shiny, perfect coins are valuable. That belief has destroyed fortunes. Even dirty, worn, heavily circulated 1924 Mercury dimes can carry surprising value depending on strike quality, die characteristics, and historical demand. Some circulated examples have sold for far more than expected simply because of unique traits that experts recognize instantly. The coin may look tired, but to the trained eye, it tells a rare story. At the top of the value chain, uncirculated examples of the 1924 Mercury dime have reached prices that feel unreal. These are coins that never truly entered daily commerce, preserved by chance or intention. Their sharp details, full bands on the fasces, and original surfaces make collectors compete fiercely. When demand meets scarcity, prices explode. This is how a dime becomes worth thousands, then hundreds of thousands, and in exceptional market conditions, pushes into legendary territory. The reason people whisper about million-dollar dimes is not fantasy, it is the psychology of elite collecting. High-end collectors do not buy metal, they buy history, perfection, and exclusivity. When two wealthy collectors want the same coin and only one exists in that grade, price becomes meaningless. The 1924 Mercury dime sits right at that edge, where common appearance hides elite potential. What makes this coin truly dangerous is how easy it is to underestimate. It does not look special to the average person. It does not shine loudly. It does not announce its power. And that is exactly why so many were spent, cleaned, damaged, or sold cheaply. Cleaning alone has destroyed more value than time ever could. A clean 1924 dime may still hold silver value, but an untouched one holds destiny. The history of this coin is tied to an America that believed in progress but feared instability. It circulated during a time when people trusted silver, not paper promises. That trust is stamped into the metal. Holding a 1924 Mercury dime is holding a piece of economic faith, a reminder of when money had weight, sound, and substance. If you find this coin today, the most important rule is simple: do not rush. Do not clean it. Do not spend it. Do not sell it without knowledge. Every scratch, every shadow, every worn detail must be evaluated carefully. Sometimes what looks like damage is actually proof of authenticity and age. Sometimes what looks common is actually rare. Many fortunes were not made by finding coins, but by not letting them go too quickly. The difference between a few dollars and life-changing money is often patience and understanding. The 1924 Mercury dime rewards those who respect its history and approach it with caution. This coin carries the power to change a life not because it promises instant wealth, but because it represents opportunity hidden in plain sight. Somewhere, right now, one may be sitting in a drawer, a jar, or an old collection, waiting for someone who knows what to look for. That person could be you. So before you dismiss that worn silver dime, before you trade it for something cheap, remember this story. Remember that history does not shout, it whispers. And sometimes, those whispers are worth more than anyone ever imagined. Because the next time you hold a 1924 Mercury dime, you are not holding 10 cents. You are holding a question. And the answer could change your fortune overnight. Welcome to a moment that could redefine how you see a single coin forever. Today, the spotlight falls on the 1929 Mercury dime, officially called the Winged Liberty Head dime, a small silver coin born at the edge of one of the most dramatic turning points in American history. This dime does not scream for attention. It does not sparkle loudly. Instead, it waits silently, carrying the weight of a collapsing economy, forgotten pockets, and hidden fortunes that few ever recognized in time. The Mercury dime was created to represent freedom of thought and national strength, and by 1929, that symbolism had never been more powerful. Liberty's winged cap speaks of ideas moving freely, progress racing forward, and hope surviving even in uncertainty. On the reverse, the fasces stands firm, bound tightly together, with an olive branch woven into its form. It sends a clear message of unity and peace through strength. In 1929, America needed that message more than ever, because this was the year the world as people knew it began to crack. The 1929 Mercury dime with no mint mark, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, was released into circulation just as the Great Depression began tightening its grip. People were desperate. Coins were not saved, they were spent. Silver was trusted more than banks, and every dime mattered. These coins passed through countless hands, buying food, paying debts, and keeping families alive. Very few were preserved with care, and that relentless circulation is exactly why surviving examples today are so powerful. Made from 90% pure silver, the 1929 Mercury dime already holds intrinsic metal value, but its real worth goes far beyond silver content. Each one is a survivor of economic fear, bank failures, and social collapse. Many were melted for bullion when silver prices rose. Others were worn nearly smooth by constant use. Time was not kind to this coin, and that harsh reality is what makes it dangerous to underestimate today. Most people assume that a dirty, worn, heavily circulated coin is worthless. That belief has destroyed more wealth than ignorance ever should. In truth, some circulated 1929 Mercury dimes have sold for astonishing amounts because of subtle characteristics invisible to untrained eyes. Strike sharpness, die state, surface originality, and natural aging can transform what looks like a tired old dime into a collector's obsession. At the highest levels of collecting, condition becomes destiny. Uncirculated 1929 Mercury dimes are shockingly rare, not because they were not made, but because almost none survived untouched. Coins with crisp details, undisturbed surfaces, and strong definition on the fasces ignite bidding wars that defy logic. When scarcity collides with desire, price stops following rules. This is how a dime crosses into territory where numbers no longer feel real. The idea of million-dollar coins is born from this exact phenomenon. It is not about face value. It is about uniqueness, survival, and demand. Wealthy collectors do not compete for metal, they compete for stories that cannot be repeated. A top-condition 1929 Mercury dime is not replaceable. Once it enters a private collection, it may disappear for generations, making the remaining examples even more powerful. The danger of this coin lies in how easily it blends in. It looks like countless other Mercury dimes. It hides among junk silver, old jars, inherited collections, and forgotten drawers. Many have been sold cheaply, traded without thought, or cleaned in ways that permanently destroyed their potential. Cleaning does not restore value, it erases history, and history is what collectors pay for. The Philadelphia Mint did not mark these coins with a mint letter, and that absence confuses many people. No mint mark does not mean no value. In fact, it places the coin directly at the center of American minting history. Philadelphia was the backbone of U.S. coinage, and its products carried authority and trust. The 1929 issue represents the final breath before an era collapsed. Holding a 1929 Mercury dime today is like holding a frozen moment from a world that suddenly changed. It represents survival, endurance, and forgotten opportunity. Every scratch tells a story. Every worn edge speaks of hands that needed it more than we can imagine. And sometimes, those very signs of life are what authenticate and elevate the coin. If you ever come across this dime, the greatest mistake you can make is speed. Rushing to sell, rushing to clean, rushing to assume it is common. Value reveals itself slowly, through careful examination and patience. Some fortunes were not made by finding rare coins, but by recognizing them before anyone else did. This coin has the power to change a life not because it promises magic, but because it rewards knowledge. Somewhere, a 1929 Mercury dime sits unnoticed, waiting for the moment someone understands what it truly represents. That moment could arrive quietly, without warning, in your own hands. So remember this before you spend or sell an old silver dime for a few dollars. Remember that history often hides its greatest rewards in the smallest places. And remember that the 1929 Mercury dime is not just a coin from the past. It is a test of awareness. A lesson in patience. And for the right person, at the right time. A silent key capable of changing a fortune overnight. Welcome to a story that proves even the most overlooked coin can hold unimaginable power. Today, we uncover the hidden truth behind the 1940 Mercury dime, officially known as the Winged Liberty Head dime, a coin many people believe is common, ordinary, and unimportant. That belief has cost people fortunes. Because sometimes, the most dangerous coins are not the rare-looking ones, but the ones everyone assumes are worthless. By 1940, the Mercury dime had already become part of everyday American life. The nation was recovering from hardship, standing on the edge of global conflict, and silver coins were trusted more than promises. The design remained unchanged, yet its meaning deepened. Liberty's wing cap still symbolized freedom of thought, intelligence, and movement forward, while the reverse fasces bound together with an olive branch quietly represented strength through unity and peace through discipline. In uncertain times, this coin carried reassurance in metal form. The 1940 Mercury dime with no mint mark, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, entered circulation at a time when saving coins was not a luxury most people had. These dimes were spent endlessly. They paid for meals, transportation, newspapers, and survival itself. Because of this, truly well-preserved examples are far rarer today than people realize. Quantity minted never tells the full story. Survival does. Made from 90% pure silver, this dime has intrinsic value from the moment it was created. But silver alone does not explain why collectors pay staggering amounts for certain examples. The real value lies in condition, originality, strike quality, and the unseen details that separate an ordinary coin from an extraordinary one. A single microscopic difference can change everything. Most people believe a dirty, worn, heavily circulated Mercury dime has no future. That assumption is one of the biggest mistakes in numismatics. Some of the most valuable coins in history started their journey looking exactly like that. Where tells a story. It proves authenticity. It shows survival. And in rare cases, it hides unique traits that only experts recognize. The fasces on the reverse is the key detail collectors obsess over. Sharpness, separation of the bands, and clarity of design turn an average coin into a prize. A 1940 Mercury dime with exceptional strike quality can ignite competition among serious collectors, even if it does not appear flashy at first glance. This is how value quietly multiplies. The Philadelphia Mint did not place a mint mark on these coins, and many people wrongly assume that means lower value. In reality, no mint mark places the coin directly at the heart of U.S. coinage history. Philadelphia coins represent the standard, the benchmark, and the foundation of American money. The 1940 issue reflects a mature design at the height of its circulation life. At the highest levels of the market, collectors do not chase coins, they chase perfection and scarcity combined. When a 1940 Mercury dime appears with untouched surfaces, strong definition, and natural aging, it becomes more than silver. It becomes an artifact. And artifacts do not follow normal pricing rules. This is where prices can reach levels that shock the public and rewrite expectations. The stories of extreme prices come from moments when opportunity meets obsession. When two collectors want the same coin and only one exists in that condition, logic disappears. What remains is desire. That is how an object meant to be worth 10 cents enters conversations about life-changing money. The true danger of the 1940 Mercury dime is how often it has been mishandled. Countless examples were cleaned, polished, scratched, or sold cheaply for their silver value alone. Cleaning strips away originality, and originality is what collectors crave. A natural coin tells the truth of time. A cleaned coin tells nothing. Holding a 1940 Mercury dime today is holding a piece of pre-war America, a nation still believing in metal, weight, and trust. This coin lived through rationing, uncertainty, and transformation. It survived meltings, losses, and neglect. Every surviving example is a witness. If you ever find this coin, the most important thing is restraint. Do not rush to judgment. Do not rush to sell. Do not assume common means worthless. Some fortunes were lost because people acted too quickly. Some fortunes were made because someone paused and looked closer. This coin has the power to change a life not because every example is priceless, but because some are extraordinary, and those few carry unimaginable influence. Somewhere, a 1940 Mercury dime sits unnoticed, its true potential hidden beneath time and wear. Before you trade it away for a few dollars, remember this. History does not announce itself. It waits quietly, disguised as something ordinary. And sometimes, what looks like pocket change is actually a test of patience, knowledge, and vision. Because the 1940 Mercury dime is not just silver. It is survival pressed into metal. It is opportunity hiding in plain sight. And for the person who recognizes it at the right moment, it holds the power to change a fortune overnight.